Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express, the most important news and editorial of the day, which is again relevant for both prelims and main examination, will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with news topic list. Today is 23rd of May, the first PM to attend launch event of IPEF in Tokyo. We'll understand the detail about this. Second, India 8 reaches Sri Lanka port. Third, Quad meeting faces criticism from China. Fourth, behind current food inflation. And the last is an editorial. India need to keep eye on its myopic prevalence. And this behind the food inflation is from the explained section of the Indian Express. Apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And if you're new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do not forget to press a like button. First news of the day, that is PM to attend launch event of IPEF in Tokyo. Something again important for General Studies paper 2. Bilateral regional grouping and agreement evolving India and affecting India's interest. So the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, will attend the launch event of Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity, that is also known as IPEF. This is something important for your upcoming prelims examination also. And IPEF will be launched by the US President in an event in Tokyo. So this is expected to launch today. When I'm recording this lecture, this initiation of the launching event might start. Now the aim of IPEF, the initiative of Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity, is aimed at deeper cooperations among the like-minded countries in areas such as clean energy, supply chain resilience and digital trade. ये कुछ priority areas हैं जिन पे IPEF, that is Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity, which is again a US government initiative, would look into. तो आपको तीनों चीज याद करने हैं. First is clean energy, second is supply chain resilience, and third is digital trade. तो ये तीन priority areas हैं. The rollout of IPEF by the Biden, that is by the US administration or by the US president, is expected to send across a signal that the US is focused on countering the China's aggressive strategy on trade in the region. Basically, we have seen the dominance of China, and US has been vocal about the China's dominance in the region. This is why Indo-Pacific is something which is going to counter China. और Indo-Pacific के अलावे क्वाड जैसी भी जो एग्रीमेंट है उसने significantly बेसिकली जो चाइना की मोटिवेशंस है या वे चाइना के जो इंटेंशंस है उनको थोड़ा सा डोमिनेट करने की कोशिश की है so that it can have a prosperous in the region. Now countries that is expected to join IPEF, अगर बात करें कौन कौन से countries है वो join करेंगे. The list of the countries include Australia, New Zealand, South Korea, Japan, Singapore and Philippines. तो ये country sure shot हैं जो कि join कर रहे हैं. If it is being asked in examination, you have to take name of this countries या mnemonics बना के countries के जो नाम है वो भी याद कर सकते हैं. इंडिया की अगर बात करें, इंडिया is also expected to join, but it has not taken any decision yet that whether it would be looking into joining this, looking forward to join it. But definitely India would be looking into all contours and understand the plan that how this is going to be executed. But possibly in a due course of time, India would also be a participant of this. Now, Quad Summit की अगर बात करें, the Prime Minister will meet the US President, Japanese Prime Minister and the new Australian PM at the Quad Summit, after which the PM will hold a bilateral talk with each of them. This is something going to be very significant. India has been always vocal about the peace, prosperity and transparency in the Pacific region. And Quad focus on the area of convergence such as trade, infrastructure, climate change and critical technologies. Now, second in-person Quad leaders की meeting हो रही है इस बार. The summit will provide an opportunity for the leader of the 4 Quad countries to review the progress and Quad initiatives. So this is again something going to be significant for all the member countries in terms of mutual respect for each other. Now, India aids Sri Lanka's port, something important for General Studies paper 2, India and its neighborhood relations. Now, India is making its proactive efforts and trying to provide a helping hand to Sri Lanka by sending a ship of consignment which is worth around 2 billion rupees. Now, India's ship carrying the urgent relief include rice, life-saving medicines, milk powders, and other essential item that is required by the crisis hit Colombo or Sri Lanka. We have seen recently the economic crisis which is ongoing has severely impacted the population of Sri Lanka. Previously, the government of India has also sent out the dry rations, medicine, and other essential commodities to Sri Lanka on a grant basis. India has been proactively helping Sri Lanka in terms of their situation, which is worsening day by day. Although government वहाँ पे जो prime minister उनको हटाया गया है, but again the change of government will take place, and still the new president prime minister was appointed. But the point is that the normalcy in terms of the citizen is not yet there. तो बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग हैं जिनको अभी भी इन्फ्लेशन से गुजरना पड़ रहा है. Petroleum is not there, LPG cylinders are not available. So these are the problem which is creating a lot more hardship for the citizen of Sri Lanka. Now, aid by government of Tamil Nadu, apart from government of India, Tamil Nadu government ने भी aid की है. So this is the first consignment under the larger, that is $16 million की commitment की गई थी. 40,000 metric ton of rice and 500 metric ton of milk powder medicine was given from the Tamil Nadu government. Right? Tamil Nadu, Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has said that they would be giving a ship-laden relief supplies and dispatched to the Sri Lanka. The items that to be distributed among the vulnerable and the needy sections of the population, चाहे वहाँ के कुछ specific region की बात करें, northern, eastern and central western provision of Sri Lanka would be also taken into consideration and the equal distribution will take place. Now, helped by other organizations apart from the central government and the Tamil Nadu government, some other important organizations. This is the central government and the Tamil Nadu government, right? This is TN. So apart from this, the other organization, the private entities are also providing support. So the private and social organizations from India have aided Sri Lanka to meet the urgent requirement. And Sri Lanka is facing the worst economic crisis since independence, जहाँ पे food और fuel की shortage देखी गई है. The price rise is higher, purchasing power parity is on the downside, power cuts is evident there, and even the large number of people has resulted in the protest of the government setup, and they wanted the change of the complete government. A Quad meeting faces criticism from China, something important for General Studies paper 2, bilateral regional grouping and agreement, evolving India's and affecting India's interest. So ahead of Quad grouping meeting, which is going to be held in Tokyo, China's foreign minister said that जिस तरह से US ने अपनी intention दिखाई है Indo-Pacific के लिए, he has accused China that they want to distort the region. एक खास करके चाइना ने हमेशा क्लेम किया है जब भी US इस रीजन पे आती है, China feel insecure and they have been always vocal about this, that this is something not the region of US, right? But again, India के लिए काफ़ी important support होगी जब US इस तरह की initiatives लेगी. Now, China's stand की अगर बात करें, China has leveraged the Quad and mechanism to contain the global rise. And even the Chinese foreign minister has accused the grouping being dedicated to undermining the China's interest. China अपनी interest claim करते रहा है, but again, all members of Quad are vocal about equal participation for each country. In April, the foreign minister spoke about the group, and it says that the absolute Cold War or zero-sum mentality is something that shows the military confrontation, adding that it can counter the trend and even it can doom to be rejected, right? So these are some Chinese stand. They would be definitely preparing to counter these initiatives. Now, Quad agenda की बात करें, these are the members country of the Quad: Australia, India, Japan and UK. आप चारों countries के नाम ध्यान रखेंगे. The virtual meeting that is actually started in 2021, the leaders issued a statement promising for free, open, inclusive and resilient Indo-Pacific, and signals that it intended to act in the area of pressing the global challenges, specifically concerning the China. और कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट इश्यूज हैं जो क्वाड के लिए एक सबसे बड़ी एजेंडा है, दैट इंक्लूड क्लाइमेट चेंज, काउंटर टेररिज्म एंड साइबर सिक्योरिटी. Now, behind current food inflation, something evident for General Studies Paper 3, Indian economy and issues related to planning, mobilization, resource growth, and development. So, the world and India is witnessing the resurgence of food inflation. We have seen some of the highest food inflation in our country in the recent months. So, between September 21 to April 22, the consumer price inflation, or you can say CPI, has been witnessed around 8.3 on the year basis. 0.68% तक की increase देखी गई है. Now, since August 2020, when the global demand was returning to the normal, but जिस तरह से COVID-19 के problems हैं उसने भी escalate किया price को, but the current situation respectively of war ongoing between Russia and Ukraine was also evident for this. So sugar prices were soaring up to 141%, 71% and to 50% consecutively. ये वेजिटेबल ऑयल में 141% इंक्रीज देखी गई, सेरल्स में 71% एंड शुगर प्राइस में 50%. Now, repercussions of Ukraine on Russia's measure. So, Ukraine has a drought in 2021 और रशिया ने भी इस चीज़ को देखते हुए अपने इम्पोर्ट को बंद किया. They have stopped the wheat, corn, barley, rice, sunflower and rapeseeds domestic requirement को पूरी करने के लिए, जिस वजह से इंडिया में भी इन्फ्लेशन बढ़ी. The Ukrainian drought and Russia's export control coupled with the pre-endemic induced problem has led to the problem for the migrant worker in Malaysia's palm oil also, जहाँ पे वहाँ से भी ये बोला गया कि इंडोनेशिया ने भी palm oil के प्रोडक्शंस को कम किया और इंपोर्ट को बहुत हद तक बेसिकली एक्सपोर्ट को बंद किया था इंडिया के लिए. The war which began in February 24 was only worsening the situations, जहाँ पे जो ग्लोबल सप्लाई चेन है wheat, corn, barley, sunflower oil एक्सपोर्ट की वो काफ़ी ज़्यादा इम्पैक्ट हुई. Now, specific impact on India. So, more than 60% of edible oil that we consume here is being imported from the country like Russia, Ukraine, Indonesia, Philippines. India exports cereal from sugar, जहाँ पे 12.9 billion के आसपास की जाती है and 4.6 billion that is the value. And India has picked up the cereal inflation of late. But the inflation, basically wheat, has come up to the backdrop of the loss that is caused by the sudden heat wave from the mid-March. Now, looking into the retail inflation, you can see this graph from January 2020 till January 21. This was substantially on a controlled side, but in January or in month of April, this has taken a toll up to 7.9%, touching up to the 8% inflation, which is higher than the RBI target also. Now, summing up with this inflations, food inflation result in war, खास करके droughts, unseasonal rains, heat waves, and different structural demand has caused and sum up of this problem. The inflation is now more informal. Food की अगर बात करें, खास करके calorie intake, vitamins, minerals, these are some of the essential things that has to be taken by each and every individual. So government should also provide the nutritional security for an individual. Meanwhile, the recent decision by the center that has reduced the exercise, खास करके एक्साइज ड्यूटी है पेट्रोल और डीजल में कम किए गए हैं, इस वजह से आने वाले समय में जो फूड इन्फ्लेशन है उसमें भी गिरावट देखी जाएगी. Now, there should be further statutory effects on the food inflations in the coming days. The government would be taking more concrete actions to ensure that the price of food is coming down. Moving to the editorial of the day, that is, India needs to keep an eye on its myopic prevalence. Something important for General Studies Paper 2, issues related to development and management of health. So I'll be simplifying this editorial by 5 important subheads. The first is near work is on rise, epidemic or not in the issues, status in India, the urbanization link, and encouraging the annual screening. The entire editorial focuses upon the prevalence of myopia in India and the world. बात करें इंडिया की, millions of young children are growing up and short-sighted every year because of myopia. And myopia is commonly found in the children. What is myopia? I'll make you understand in the later part of the video. Now, as per the World Health Organization estimates, nearly 2 billion people are with myopia as per 2010 data. Quarters population जो है वो almost infected. Now, 2030, this project myopia's prevalence to reach around 3.3 billion of the total populations. while East Asia and Pacific has been reporting some of the highest number of myopia problems that is arises both in the children and adult population. So what is myopia? You can see this image. This will help you understand better. This is for the normal eye, how it's actually go. The retina images is being properly formed via cornea. This is the image. Now for the myopic eyes, the focal length changes and even the cornea which shows the blur images, right? So I think most of you till class 10th must have read science in your school. So these were the part of class 6 or 7. एंड दिस इज अगेन इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर बोथ प्रीलिम्स एंड मेंस एग्जामिनेशन. मेंस में भी जो ये प्रॉब्लम है उसको हाईलाइट करते हुए आपसे डायरेक्टली क्वेश्चंस भी पूछे जा सकते हैं. Now, near work is on the rise. बेसिकली बाय नियर वर्क का मतलब है कई ऐसे लोग हैं जो अपने लैपटॉप्स पे, फ़ोन पे, इवन फॉर लाइक अदर पीपल हु इज़ एन अर्बनाइज सेटअप, वो बुक्स पे हैं. तो एक विजन जो है वो नियर वर्क के साथ चल रही है. सो द होस्ट एनवायरनमेंट एंड जेनेटिक फैक्टर डिटरमाइन द ऑनसेट ऑफ मायोपिया. And it is believed that the exposure to sunlight and heavy balance between the distance near object arrests the myopia onset and progresses. Now, many children, especially in urban setup, they do not spend much time. जो काफ़ी से लोग हैं जो इंडोर्स टाइम स्पेंड करते हैं, आउटडोर्स नहीं जाते हैं. तो इंडोर्स में एक आई की जो साइज जिस डिस्टेंस पे आप जो ऑब्जेक्ट को रेफर करते हैं वो काफ़ी शॉर्ट डिस्टेंस होती है. इफ़ यू आर नॉट गोइंग आउट यू डोंट सी अ डिस्टेंस ऑब्जेक्ट. द रीजन बीइंग जो आई की स्ट्रेंथ है वो भी कम होती है. इट इज़ एडवाइजेबल कि मॉर्निंग में इसी वजह से मॉर्निंग वॉक आप करें और जो दूर के डिस्टेंस के ऑब्जेक्ट्स हैं उनको थोड़ा व्यू करें, फोकस करें, सो दैट योर आई स्ट्रेंथ इज ऑल्सो इंक्रीज. बट इन द स्कूल और होम द क्वांटम ऑफ फियर इज नियर वर्क, looking books, television, mobile phones, and laptops. Right? COVID-19 pandemic has again accelerated this problem, especially in the children, which was not going out because of the infections and other problems. The big shift to near work seems to be triggering an increase in the myopia prevalence in India. Now, epidemic or not is an issue. Basically, बात की गई है जो data from East Asia countries के कहते हैं particularly is alarming. India is among them also. And before the novel coronavirus pandemic, 80 to 90% of high school children in East and Southern Asia were presenting with the myopia. Now, nearly 20% of them were high on the myopia problem. And the World Health Organization warned that the global myopia epidemic, wherein the millions of our children are risked for the vision impairment, जहाँ भी ये project की गई है, that almost 50% of the world population can be myopic by 2050. So this is a dangerous situation which will arise for India and for other countries in the world. But India need to take cognizance, and we as an individual, आपके अगर किसी family members में इस तरह की किसी को problem है, make sure he is consulted with the doctors and take all necessary precautions. और precautionary measures के तौर पे आप उनको इस तरह के जो important initiatives government की तरफ से वो भी ले सकते हैं. Status in India. India is one of the 30th to world in the 5th children at presenting the myopia. 30 हर 30 बच्चे में एक बच्चे ऐसे हैं जिनको मायोपिया की प्रॉब्लम है. To largely extent 1.2 million school children in Telangana and part of Andhra Pradesh, with the public health ophthalmologist and the Western Prakash has found that the myopia is prevalent to less than little 5%. And even including already with the glasses, prevalence of myopia has not come down. Now this is a graph that will give you an idea about myopia and high myopia that is rapidly increasing. The orange in color is for high myopia, the yellow in color is for low myopia, and blue in color is for no myopia. So you can see this population by 2060 and this population by 10 billion that is on the rise. Now the urbanization link, how the urbanization is creating a problem and initiating a problem of myopia. So despite demographic shift in the cities and town, nearly 65% of Indian population still live in the rural areas. And myopia can twice have among the urban की अगर बात करें रूरल पॉपुलेशन में ज़्यादा प्रेवलेंट है ये अर्बन लोगों में, बिकॉज अगेन आई हैव टोल्ड यू द प्रॉब्लम ऑफ सेल फोन, नॉट गोइंग फार, televisions, laptops, and these are the problem that has escalated the problem of myopia, right? So the spectral power of the urban children with myopia is already increasing. Taking all this factor into account, the prediction is that it is going to increase by 50%. So this data would be again relevant for your mains examination. Now, encouraging annual screening is something that is essentially required. So it must be easy for us to take a screening, and even if required, we can wear the spectacles. And buying annual screening can performed by the school teacher. एक school teacher इसमें बहुत अच्छा एक खास करके प्रिकॉशन की तरह एड कर सकते हैं टू द स्टूडेंट इफ एनी प्रॉब्लम्स एनी स्टूडेंट इज फाउंडिंग प्रॉब्लम्स इन टर्म्स ऑफ गेटिंग द टेक्स्ट फ्री। ब्लैक बोर्ड में कई बार ऐसे होते हैं बच्चों को, if a student that in a classroom setup वहाँ पे अगर किसी को प्रॉब्लम्स हैं तो टीचर्स उस प्रॉब्लम को आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं एंड ही कैन लेट द पेरेंट्स अवेयर दैट दीज आर द प्रॉब्लम जो वर्ड इज फेसिंग। सो टीचर कैन बी बेस्ट precaution in terms of providing the actual condition of a students. Now we must also tackle the stigma around the spectacles that we wear and the compassionate about it, because अभी भी इंडिया में कई ऐसे लोग स्कूल के सेटअप्स में जो बच्चे चश्मे पहनते हैं उनको अभी भी टीज किया जाता है in way or another, so that should also be avoided. And it is critical that we should step in surveillance for myopia so that there's no unawareness and running away from the epidemic will destroy our children's vision. So these are some of the least important priorities that is being given by parents and teachers. So we should definitely look into this so that जो इंडिया की यूथ जनरेशन्स हैं, खास करके जो प्राइमरी स्कूल के बच्चेज हैं, उनको इस तरह से फोकस किया जा सके और कुछ ऐसी प्रॉब्लम है तो आइडेंटिफाई करके डायग्नोस किया जा सके. So this is how we can encourage the annual screening process. Moving to the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of Saturday questions. For first question, the correct option is B. For second question, the correct option is C. Today's MCQ, Mission Vatsalya, is aimed to reduce the infant mortality and is a mission. There's a National Human Bank for the Lactation Counseling Center was established. So do check it out for the correct option. Now, second is Defense Acquisition Council. The Prime Minister is the chairman of the council, and then it is formed group of ministers recommending the reforming of the National Security Commissions system, post ka aage बढ़ो. So these are some of the important questions that you can practice at your home. If you have any other concern, you can let me know. So this was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis followed by the MCQ questions. Thank you so much for watching this video.